Welcome, Gemini, to your August 2021 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James. For those of you who are stopping by for the first time, and to the subscribers, much affection to you. I love to see you each month for our monthly tarot readings. Now, of course, you'd like to have a personal reading, and I have done a number for some of you during the last month, then just check out the information below. But in any event, have a look at the website. The link is just probably on the top of the page there. And I think you'll find some interesting information on clairvoyance and on astrology and how it works. But now we're going to take 5 cards, because haven't you found that 5 is all we need? They are jam-packed full of information and give you everything that you need to know for the month. So let's get things underway and see what there is first up. And it is the universe. What a fascinating, lovely artwork on this. It's quite esoteric, so I might use my pen to point out what I think are a couple of the more interesting features of the cards and some of the esoteric symbology that's gone into it. There's the 9 of discs. It's quite apparent that the developer of the artist here has done quite a lot of research into the esoteric arts, or had someone consult to him, her, I can't remember. Actually, to tell you the truth, I just don't know who the developer is. There's the 5 of Swords. And with the result that a lot of the esoteric imagery, actually, I find in line with my own way of thinking. There's the Sun. What a wonderful card for you, Gemini, particularly at this time of year. Wouldn't you agree? See, there you go. There's that esoteric imagery. Great. And finally, here's this one, the Lovers. Well, why don't you come and sit down next to me? We'll have a good close look at the imagery on these cards together while I do the reading for you. Now let me move over so you can see. That's better. These are the backs of the cards, by the way. Now let's have a look at this first one, which is the universe from memory. Indeed it is. Now here is something interesting. Look at this. Here is a cherub pouring water. It's a sign of Aquarius, right? Here is an eagle. That's the exalted form of Scorpio. The fixed sign of air, the fixed sign of water. Down here is a lion, which is of Leo, which is the fixed sign of fire. And here is a bull, which is the fixed sign of earth in Taurus. Now, I'm reminded of a book of the Old Testament or Hebrew Bible, and in it there is the book of Ezekiel. And in chapter 1 of Ezekiel, the prophet said that he saw a windstorm with flames and lightning coming out of the north, and in it were contained 4 creatures. This is in chapter 1. And then in verse 10 of that, he said, each of them had a human face at the front. Each of them had a face of the lion on the right. Each of the 4 had the face of an ox on the left, and each of the 4 had the face of an eagle at the back. Interesting, isn't it? Now, here we have really what I would call the Fool, really having come to the end of the wormhole of the major arcana. The Fool who starts at the beginning and then at the end. This is the last card of the major arcana, number 21. The Great One of the Night Time, I call it. And the Fool, I think, here emerges as the bride. Now, this letter down here that you can see, that's a Hebrew biblical letter, Tau, and that is associated with Saturn being the slowest of the classical planets, having dull qualities like structure and stagnation. And it was also associated very much with the Earth. But here we have something which is coming to an end. This is the last card of the major arcana. It closes the circle which began with the Fool. The great task has been brought to completion and returns to the innocence and ingenuousness of the Fool. Here we have this dancing figure showing at the same time a new beginning on a higher level of being. The final goal is reached, the return to the original cosmic oneness. Now you see yourself and the world as it really is. This is sort of symbolic, I think, of the Eye of Horus. This thing here that I see here, the Hindu audience would be appreciative of that. The creator and the destroyer, the all-seeing eye. All garments and masks have become superfluous and useless because you are now at one with your original nature. You are whirling, caught up in the perpetual dancing motion of the universe. The boundaries of your small I dissolve in orgasmic union with the universe. This is speaking to you of completion, cosmic union, maybe liberation, burning off of karma. The nude woman dances the dance of liberation. Through the Eye of Horus, she has seen into the nature of limitations, and with this insight, she cuts through the web of ensnarement. The energy here now is transformed, and a new quality exists. I think these cherubim here, they blow out the all-pervading spirit, which will be in place for you now. It is now possible for you to see things as they really are. The stage is set for a new beginning or a favorable completion. The events in your life are in harmony with the universe itself. Your efforts are finally paying off. It has been something of a long, hard haul, hasn't it? But you're almost there, and it is a reminder to finish what you've started. I think you'll be learning to take control of your own destiny, and you'll be using the power of your will to get results. Now, from what aspects of your life is it time to free yourself? Is there a journey or an enterprise waiting for you to set in motion? Trust your perceptions at this time. Make a list of all unfinished situations whose resolution would give you a sense of release, and say this to yourself: I love to travel. I love to explore the unknown. I am excited about bringing ideas and creative projects into form. I deeply value making a contribution that makes the world and people around me better. I am one with the universe. Well, where shall we go to next? I think we might well do the other major arcana, which is sitting underneath that universe. What a lovely energy that is for you. I'm so pleased that you've got that. And then, even better, here is the Sun, the Lord of the fire of the Word. The Hebrew letter here is Resh, meaning head. But it stands for the front and central part of the head. In this case, the pineal gland, or pineal gland as some people call it. The pineal gland is said to be named so because it is the shape of a pine cone, a symbol of growth. In mathematics, there's a thing called the Fibonacci sequence, and virtually all of nature in its beauty follows that numerical sequence. And the pineal gland is said to be the seat of consciousness. Its relationship with light gives it the function of a third eye. Now, Buddha's head is also depicted as shaped like a pine cone, if I'm not mistaken. So here we have the head, the heart, and the eye, all connected in the symbolism of the sun. Now, this card, as you would probably know, is very often depicted by a set of twins, usually small children, toddlers even. But here, look, the twins still appear, but they appear here as crowned snakes in this artwork here. The heart vessel marked with the all-seeing eye and topped with the pineal cone is the orb between them, topping the caduceus. Now this is how the staff of Osiris from ancient Egyptian mythology, Osiris was the god of the underworld and of death. That's how his staff is often shown. This, I suppose, is a visual representation of the force of Kundalini, summoned at the base of the spine to the third eye in the forehead, with the twin snakes being the channels. As the force rises, it expands and awakens the third eye. The pine cone opens and releases its seeds. Now these twins call to mind the sign of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. Now there is a connection between the Sun and Mercury. They travel very closely together. And the major arcana number of the Sun is 19. And if you add 1 and 9 together, you get 10. Reduce that down, you get 1. And that is the number of the Magus card, which is also associated with the planet of Mercury. So the theme of twins also, I think, calls up the mythology of twinned suns in this card, or suns, as in S-O-N-S and S-U-N-S. And here there are what I imagine are two, let me just count these, two six-pointed stars or solar symbols. They have been twinned to make the geometric form of a 12-pointed star to span the signs of the zodiac. Now this card also has multiple triangles and hexagrams embedded in it. That's dealing with quite mystical Kabbalistic teaching, which I won't go into now. But I'm looking at, let's have a bit closer look here again. If you look at the tongues of there's an arrow coming out. There is, which might be said to be the sign of Sagittarius. And here is something which might be said to be the glyph of Aries. Well, I think those tongues from the snakes do form the glyphs of Aries and Sagittarius, which completes the fire trinity along with Leo, because the Sun rules Leo. Alternatively, if we look at this arrow here, that is very much seen in the sign of Mars. Alternatively, the tongues are Aries and Mars, which is a subtle reference to the Sun's exaltation in Aries, and the double Mars, Mars ruling Aries, and the arrow of Mars also ruling the first decan of Aries. The Sun is shown as a winged disk with wings in a folded position, and the flying disk of the Sun is marked with the decanates of the zodiac. See, here's the signs of the zodiac, and here there's a symbol for each of the 3 decanates of each of the zodiac signs. I say that this is talking to you about a time where you will have highly creative energy, awareness, fulfilled love relationships, wisdom, transformation, a degree of spirituality about you, I'd say. And yes, it's possible that you'll hear of marriage during this time, or of people moving in together. This speaks particularly of good fortune, optimism, and happiness. The Sun radiates as the center in the middle of the 12 astrological signs and bathes everything in light. Now, the Sun is the source of life and represents success and abundance, and this is going to follow you in your life at the present. The energy of the Sun will get you through tough times, and the Sun will illuminate your path after what has, I think, been something of a trying time. So embrace your goals and give it everything you've got. And if you have had tough times, this says that things are going to get better. You can move mountains at this period. The fulfillment of your wishes is possible here and now. Relax and just give yourself up to the dance, just as this woman is doing so here. The right partners will find each other's. So what task or project is on the agenda for you now? Visualize the light and warmth of the sun in your chest and heart, and for the next few days, remind yourself several times daily that the sun is shining in and through you. And say to yourself, I work well in teamwork situations. I enjoy making contribution to group efforts. I am a cooperative person. I am in harmony with the divine light which fills me and guides me. Now, I think what we might do is, well, let's deal with this Five of Swords, which is coming here as something of a message, I think, for you. Not as a sentence, but as a message. To just be aware of things and to have faith in yourself. Let me just have a look at the image here. Well, the Five of Swords. It is the first decanate of Aquarius, ruled by Venus. The fixed sign of air is Aquarius. So we really have two feminine energies here, being Venus and Aries. But with this number 5 here, I have a mystical association with the planet of Mars, which is fiery and aggressive and temperamental. And Mars has one thing in mind and goes ahead like a robot when it wants to get things done. And it is a fighter. Whereas Venus is not a fighter. Venus is a lover. And so there is some astrological discord there, or discord between the astrology and the numerology for me. The card shows the white dove of Venus under attack by a dark bird of prey for Aquarius, resembling what would you call that, a raven or a crow? The dove was carrying a message of peace in the form of a rose, but the rose has been utterly destroyed or torn asunder and falling. The dove had built its nest in what it thought was a secure square form, but it had lowered its defenses and built from 4 broken swords here. In peacetime, perhaps the swords had been broken up, but now the nest comes under sinister attack. It presents an easy target for the raven, as shown by the large and disruptive 5th sword, which totally overpowers the 4 and breaks into the nest. But the humanitarian sign of Aquarius is here ruled by Venus, and Venus is no match for the fiery Mars. Here, in the element of air, we see something of a mental weakness that leads to fear of defeat. Now, interestingly, I think whatever your religious background may be, you would agree that Catholic popes are figures of importance in world affairs, and it was Pope John Paul II, that Polish pope, who began an annual tradition of releasing white peace doves on the last Sunday in January to symbolize the need to pray and work for world peace. Now, interestingly, the date of the last Sunday in January falls in the first decan of Aquarius, which is the energy of this card. But unfortunately, the tradition had to be discontinued when crows and seagulls immediately and violently attacked the white doves, just moments after they were released from the hands of the little children who were participating in it. The doves were dismembered. Well, that triggered all sorts of end-time speculations. Because doves mate for life and work together to build nests and raise young, they have been revered as symbols of friendship by diverse cultures. White doves are a traditional symbol of peace and pacifism in Christian, Judaic, and pagan literature and artwork. the goddess associated with Venus, or other goddesses associated with her throughout the world, like Aphrodite or Ishtar or Astarte. They had doves associated with her. And in the old Sumerian pre-Genesis book from what is today Iraq, there's a story there called the Epic of Gilgamesh, in which a white dove was released after the deluge which had wiped out humanity. And of course that story is echoed in the biblical tale of Noah, releasing a raven and then releasing a dove after the flood. The raven was apparently too smart to return to the stifling atmosphere of the ark. The essential element of this card is that of fear, which distorts your views of the present and of the unknown, in your future perhaps. And this is reflected in the symbology of this card, I think. The Five of Swords can relate to a betrayal or a sneak attack by someone you trust and don't suspect is your enemy, somebody who probably harbors jealousy towards you. Or your fear may be the result of losing control emotionally due to previous hurts from relationships. Or it may be connected with the workplace, where you've had a bad experience that stops you from expressing yourself fully because your confidence has been lost. But if you can let go of the feeling of fear, then the energy which is built up in this nest will be released. And although Swords as a suit is mental, and it talks about some sort of mental turmoil that you're going through, I think because of the presence of Venus, it could also relate to the emotions. But I think that this says to you now to be ready to see your fear of defeat. Fear is irrational in nature, meaning it doesn't reflect the real situation. By recognizing this, you will set free all those energies which have been bound up in your fear. If you are afraid to see control slipping out of your hands, remember the feeling that you are in control is just an illusion. Seeing, understanding, accepting, and letting go of your fear will set you free. Now, what do you associate with the idea of defeat? Say this to yourself: I am not my fears. It is safe for me to live without guarding and defending myself all the time. When I feel afraid, I open my heart and let love dissolve the fear. I accept my fear and let it go. Well, shall we have a look at this Nine of Discs? Let's have a look here. What do we have for you? Nine of Discs. Well, the first thing, what is it? It is, it's Venus ruling the middle decan of Virgo, in my estimation, from where it's placed. You know, that 10 to 20 degrees. This is the Lord of Gain, the Lord of Gain. And it is the central decan of Virgo, which is ruled by Venus. Now, this decan contains the exaltation of the sign Virgo at 15 degrees and has the beneficial influence of Venus, which seems to be pleased to be in the lunar realm, because I have the moon associated with the number 9. The moon is all about producing, reflecting the spiritual energy from the sun down onto earth, about production, prosperity, productivity, growth, fruitfulness. Now at the top of the card, see these hands here? Well, 2 of the discs show hands which count up to the number 9. 9 is the highest number of the single digits and thus represents finalization and fruition. And we spend 9 months in the womb before being born, don't we? As 3 times 3, 9 is a number of fertility. By showing us 9 fingers, the card reminds you that 9 is a number of attainment and accomplishment, and you're being asked to count your blessings. Now, the bees in this card are also creatures under the astrological rulership of Virgo, in the sense that they are small creatures engaged in diligent behavior. At the top of the card, two bees are engaged in the bee dance, transferring nectar and pollen, along with a message as to where the flowers to gather them can be found. They speak to each other of abundance and its location so that the hive may prosper. Now the discs are shown as round sections of honeycomb. This is actually a popular way for beekeepers to package honey, as getting the bees to fill round frames requires less labor for the beekeeper and therefore more profit. You may have tasted comb honey, and you'll therefore know that it is so delicious and sweet. Honeycomb is symbolic of the harvest of all the efforts of the bee and the resultant sweetness. This is mainly on the material and physical level, but it can also be a spiritual gain, because the hive denotes your physical body. The honeycomb signifies that which is interior to the physical, the astral body, and the honey is symbolic of the spiritual body, which is composed of the choicest nectars and aromas of earthly experience. Now, quite simply, this is speaking of a time here of gain for you. Things are really moving around for you in your life. I think there's possibility that you'll get some sort of a financial reward or a gift or an improvement. You're going to find projects easier to get done. There's the foundations are here to start to build up material security and wealth. Now, we're not talking about anything like Bill Gates here, but if you look back to, in 12 months' time, if you look back to this time, you will be able to say to yourself, gee, that card told me that I was going to be better off than I am now, and it is right. That's what this Nine of Discs is really saying to you. Finally, let's have a look at this card, the Lovers. Now, let me see here. Where are we? What's this image got in it? The Lovers. Well, the first thing I notice is this biblical Hebrew letter here. That is the letter Zain, which means sword, unsurprisingly, because here we have a sword in the picture. It means sword. The sword in the stone is also symbolic of the cleaving, so the moving apart, and then the union of male with female. Now, if you are a member of the gay or lesbian community, then accept that within you is both male and female. So don't feel excluded from the energy of this card when I describe it as being the union of male and female. The sun's solar shape and looking at this thing here, the sun's solar shape and this moon here, the moon's crescent shape, well, they unite in the sword hilt and handle and silver and gold for the male and female, maybe even for the emperor and the empress. The figures in the card represent the emperor as the red lion and the empress as the white eagle, sharing a tantric kiss with their lower halves transformed as per their animal nature. The woman is white eagle on her lower half, while the man is red lion on his lower half. Above them is a robed figure in the shape of an Orphic egg overseeing the marriage. The figure is making a gesture of arms folded in an X shape. This is the figure of the young hermit, himself a form of Mercury. Mercury is the planet of and rules Gemini, and Gemini is the energy which is around here. The bees, I think, are both solar and lunar. See this comb area here. See this sort of honeycomb has come through again. And they've built their cells really in a six-sided polygon shape or a hexagon, which is, as we know, efficient and harmonious in its structure. In this card, the bees, combined with the organizational structure of the honeycomb, are transformed into a chalice filled with the elixir of honey around the lovers. The background shows a frame of honeycomb. In its center, a portal or window has opened. Perhaps the heat of the lovers has caused the melting and allowed the honeycomb to open up into a window. Well, these are the children of the voice divine, the oracle of the mighty gods. And this is talking also of love, attraction. People are going to find you very attractive during this period. A union of opposites through love, perhaps. Becoming conscious of things through relationship. Choices needing to be made. Perhaps entering into a partnership. Or being at the crossroads. Going into a project or business venture with somebody else. Falling in love. Commitment. You may hear of an engagement or a marriage going on here. Now, some of you may be choosing between two lovers. I suggest that what this is saying is that you need to look at all angles before making a decision. You may well find that you are called upon to be a peacemaker in relation to matters going on around you. And you need to look at harmony in your relationships. It could well be that there is the need to make a major life decision on the choice or direction ahead of you, at this time. Now, this could be a mutual attraction and sexual connection here as well. But again, this is major arcana, so it's not really a one-night stand. Very, very beautiful energy there for you. And that is the way it is for you this month. Well, splendid. I really enjoyed doing that. I must say, I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I did providing it to you. As I say, I really do enjoy doing these monthly readings for you. So please drop me a note of appreciation on the channel and give my morale a bit of a boost, and keep that virtuous circle going around. I've got to say, it's always good to see you each month, and we're getting ready for the next month. Now, before the next month, though, just remember one thing, and that one thing is this, and it is that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. So until then, it's bye for now.